you have quite a few subscribers, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And probably more growing because of these shows we're doing together. That's how Heidi found me in Minneapolis, through this show, all the way to Thailand. She found it on the internet somehow. She got guided to it, and then she contacted me. And then, as you know, we were on a private Zoom session with 8 people. Ambassador Terrellian. And we go on certain journeys. Sometimes Galactic Alliance personnel will join us on those journeys. Sometimes they just hover around where our homes are to protect people while we're on these journeys, because the body is put in a trance state, the same one we call sleep. You know, at night when a person goes to sleep, their pineal gland in the center of the brain will secrete melatonin, and it creates serotonin, which basically puts the body on automatic. So it breathes and keeps moving the lungs and the heart while you're out. That's really what happens. And during some of our sessions, we actually do what's called bilocation. So we're aware of the body that we put in the trance state called sleep. We're also fully conscious of wherever else we're going. So we're able to bring back the awareness of it to this body. It's kind of an advantage, because most people don't know how to bring back memory of where they go out of their body at night, back to this consciousness when they return in the morning to wake up from sleep. So they don't bring back any memory. They're out having experience in the universe, they just don't know it. So my work is largely about getting people to become conscious again of how to do this and what they're doing when they're out of their body. They don't remember who they are as beings. They don't remember they're not physical bodies. They don't even remember if there's life on other worlds. That's pretty closed down. And people think that's normal. But it's like I've said many times, it isn't normal. It's not. The more people become aware of it, being unaware of how they came to be on this planet and what their reason for existing is, the better their lives are going to be in so many multi-dimensional ways. The one thing I know of that helps to wake up this expanded awareness to comprehend such things is the hue, the first sound behind all creation, the first frequency that was utilized to create the lower dimensions. From dimensions that people don't even know exist, way above what most Buddhists know of as the void. There are many other higher dimensions above it. They're not going to be aware of it or go to them if they can't visualize them, if they can't see what they're like, or even imagine them. Because people have to be able to imagine these places to get to them. So imagination isn't really made up in the brain. It's the being, not the body, seeing into the universe at what they're imagining, and then moving to it or traveling to it. That's what out-of-body travel is for. That's what direct projection is for, which is more advanced than bilocation. Bilocation is being kind of aware of being in 2 places at once. Like you're aware your body's in a restful state, like a meditation, and you're not there, and you're aware of going on these journeys that I guide people through by describing what it is they're seeing, so that they start to see what it is I'm describing for themselves. And then after they get more experience with it, they can use that image of where these places are and go back there on their own. That's what we do this for. It's the purpose for it. It's all about having direct experience. Not my direct experience, but other people having the kinds of hidden truth revealing direct experience I've had for themselves. There's a new ray or a new consciousness type of new way of doing things in this omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent living energy that supports and underlies all things, even the void in space. And it goes all the way through all the dimensions and supports everything that we move and live and have our being in. That energy, or the hue, is a sound that human beings can make, and not just on Earth, because there are far more many human beings out there in the universe, hundreds of billions, even trillions, beyond the little population of this planet. And people on Earth have been subjected to a well-orchestrated, classified system, particularly since World War II, to keep them from knowing about extraterrestrial life. That's changing. I mean, it's obvious that on this world, things are underway now to help people understand that life on other worlds not only exists, but it's far more advanced than life on Earth. And at some point, whether people on Earth that are in control now like it or not, everybody on this planet is going to know extraterrestrials exist, because in reality they are themselves not originally from this planet, which makes them extraterrestrial also from Earth.
Scott, are there many planets that are controlled by tyrants, like
Sure, not many, not like the vast majority that are under the jurisdiction of benevolent, highly evolved, spiritual and technologically evolved races. There was a great war 500,000 years ago in this galaxy that came to an end with the destruction of many worlds, and the tyrants were defeated. And then there was a treaty created. And at that time, Earth was part of a treaty that kept it, goes back in Galactic Alliance history, kind of a neutral place where no one race would be allowed to dominate it, good or bad. But they were allowed to come here and have secret research facilities. Small groups of people, they would bring, tyrants would bring their human slaves or other races they dominate. Other beings would bring not slaves, but highly developed human associates down here. And they've always kept this place from being destroyed or taken over for its resources and other things. But because of the way things have been in the past, they weren't allowed to intervene here to just simply set everybody free. The people that live on this planet did not originate here. Asian people did not originate here. African American people did not originate here. Caucasian people did not originate here. All the races you have represented here were brought here from worlds or whole world systems where that race was predominant on those worlds, where those human beings of that change and slight differences evolved over time in those worlds. There's the evolution of bodies and things to higher forms. So the being, the real being, can run them and work very much higher faculties through them and enjoy the experience of being in the lower dimensions and on planets and such. But bodies are not the reality of what a being is. They are vehicles only. A human body is just a vehicle. Human beings aren't meant to be trapped in them, unaware of how to get out of them until they die. That's just silly. It leaves them ignorant until the day they die, and then they take with them the state of ignorance they left the earth with. And that state of ignorance will recreate the circumstances usually to compel them to come back here and reincarnate with no memory. That's the way things have been for a very long time. Well, that's changing too. Because what's underway out in the galaxy, and that is being focused and will pass through this planet, is meant to liberate beings from the illusion that they're bodies. Because they aren't, never were. That's big stuff. Although these words are true, what matters most in my work is that people are given the opportunity and the information and the techniques and the encouragement to begin to use their higher faculties again on a planet where they never grew up even knowing they existed, and to start to exercise them, like exercising a dormant muscle that you don't even know how to use anymore. And this is what happens in my work. And then people begin to have their own very safely protected experiences and remembering and recalling all that they once knew before they found themselves on this planet with little or no memory. So this is the basis for why I do what I do. This is what motivates me. I'm not motivated by power and money and fame and fortune or any of these things. I'm certainly capable of being responsible for them, but I would never do what I do for them as a target or a goal. My motivation is not that. It's about assisting beings from other worlds to make a transformation take place on this planet, worldwide for the first time in all of galactic history in a unique way. That's why I do what I do. That's my motivation. No covert agenda, nothing hidden. I probably reveal more about actual truth out in the multidimensional universe in the Series Agenda book alone than anyone has on this planet, ever. Because it's written from the perspective of being outside the earth and coming here as a human being on missions and stuff with beings that are out there that know this stuff and looking at the earth from the way they look at it. It's designed to help people think more galactically and get out of their little box of thinking of themselves being a body on earth with, I wonder if there's life out there. See, that's not normal. When we go on some of these journeys, I hesitate to take or even describe what we do to a whole listening audience that aren't ready for it. If they don't know what my work's about, they don't know what the Say Raise Agenda means, which is not native to this planet. If they don't understand how it can benefit them or how it's going to change things here, and they have no comprehension about what these journeys would be to other worlds and other dimensions, it's going to go right over their head. It's not going to benefit them. So it's really better if people first get a little grounding, a grounded understanding. In other words, it's better if they first begin to remember that they used to know how to visualize what the whole universe is like and comprehend it. What people don't know on Earth is that they have the capability as a being, not a body, not their brain, but as a being, to understand how the multidimensional universe works, to understand how the higher dimensions work, to understand and comprehend who and what they are that is not a body and how that works, and all they used to know over billions of years, that they were made to forget without their consent or current awareness, because that did happen. There's a reason why people don't remember. None of them volunteered to come to this planet ignorant as a brick or a stone and not remember anything. That's just not true. People don't know the real history of the universe. They don't know the real history of Earth. They don't know the real history of the solar system. They don't know the real history of the Galactic Alliance. They don't know the history of this galaxy or Andromeda or any of the things that they once knew. When people grow up here surrounded by their peers and teachers and PhDs in the academic world that teach at universities who are not classified, they are going to teach people what they believe might be true. It's called theory. And this is what people grow up into adults believing in. Belief, no experience. The problem with that is that on other worlds where these problems don't exist like they do on Earth, children are raised in an environment that encourages them to not only know who they are as a being, not a body, but how to get in and out of it all their life long, and to relate with adults and others in the same way on their world systems. They're telepathic with each other. There's no lying or deceit that goes on. They all have photographic memories. Everything they learn and see, they remember visually. They live at least, they can have bodies that they operate, live 1,000 years, 5,000 years, 10,000 years, or even 20,000 years, and in some cases longer, if there's a need for that being to run a body that long. The human beings I work with from other worlds, some of them that would appear to be 36 years of age and a very elegant, very beautiful, trim, firm, healthy, vibrant couple, married couple, on a ship, human couple that would appear to be 36 or oftentimes well over 200 years old or older. And highly trained. I mean, it's not like on Earth. So people on Earth need to do a little homework to exercise their higher faculties in order to give beings that are not tyrants permission to help them. To help them remember what they've been made to forget. To help them get over the terror, the subconscious terror that is unconscious and affects their nervous system to keep them from finding what they once knew. They're terrified of going there. So all they're left with is faith and religion, which doesn't answer anything until you die, supposedly. There's no guarantee it will answer anything when you leave this life. Because the truth is, a being, when their body dies or ceases to function, will take with them the state of consciousness they left this life with. And if it's one of fear and terror and I don't know, then they're going to recreate I don't know, and usually get compelled to just come and seek another body and hang out on Earth and not remember anything. This isn't the way that beings in other worlds operate. So if I'm allowed to say this on this planet, on this little radio show, or on Coast to Coast AM with George Nuri, or to go to a conference in the world somewhere that most people don't know ever took place, and begin to bring energies here that change things, and I cannot be prevented by any tyrants on this world, classified or otherwise, then that's really important for people to know why that is. Because the work that I'm doing and with the beings I work with are not in the business of harming anyone or harming even tyrants. They are in the business, let's put it this way, they are in the mission to provide ways for people to remember true free will. Because the free will they think they have on Earth is not true free will. How can you say you have free will if you don't remember who you are, an eternal being, and it's made of energy, but not physical matter made of protons and electrons? That's physical body stuff, physical matter. How can you expect anybody to have true free will who can't remember who they are, where they were, how they got to this planet with no memory? That's not free will. That's misdirected. And that's actually a misdirection of the creative imagination in such a way that people, without knowing it, create their own trap here. Beings are very powerful, and they just don't know it. If you can convince a being that to use the creative imagination in two ways at once, one for the wonder and beauty of life and success and everything on Earth and their family, and at the same time get them to fear the future and North Korea and nuclear war and Russia and blah, 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 through the news media, and people buy into that through the satellites, then they simply create two different streams of energy from their consciousness that go out into this primordial supportive energy, the hue, which co-creates with us, good or bad. And it will bring to that person two opposing creations that are opposed to each other, one good, one bad, one fine and happy, one terrorized. And it grounds that person, it short circuits their creative ability into this earth, keeps them grounded to this planet. So when you can get a person to understand to use the creative imagination in one correct way, which is to only intentionally imagine and create that which would be of uplifting benefit to all life, not just life on Earth, all of it. All the galaxies that the Hubble telescope shows it, all the dimensions and other realities, astral, causal, mental, etheric, the void, the dimensions above that, trillions of planets and billions of beings on billions of galaxies. That is what an individual human being is capable of comprehending. They haven't got a ghost of a chance in hell right now on Earth of remembering that's true, the way they are now. But they have the potential to remember it because they once knew it. So see, enlightenment isn't so much about developing in some distant future, some masterful consciousness, which is virtually impossible, by the way, because if you put it in the future, it just keeps receding into the future as you run towards it. You never get there. What's more important is that people put in the effort to awaken what they once knew, which has to do with their understanding of the entire creation as a being. And then working with the new ray and the hue, which creates a wisdom in them that didn't exist before and provides a certain protection. so that that person can explore safely, awaking up and becoming enlightened again on this planet, even in a world as backward as this one. There's a protection that goes with it. And it's very important that people experience for themselves the nature of this protection when they work with the hue. Otherwise, it won't be tangible for them. It won't be meaningful for them. They won't have a reality on it, and they won't progress. That sound can be made in the imagination without using the vocal cords, and it's just as effective. First, a person needs to know what the imagination is and how to use it properly. It connects to a source behind all life from which we all originated. All of us. Not last year, not 1 billion years ago, not 100 billion years ago, before that. Because what we are as a being is spherically shaped, what people on Earth call soul, what most advanced extraterrestrial races call atma, or an atom of, like a drop of pure energy comprised of exactly the same qualities and characteristics as the supreme source itself. And we're a drop of that energy as an individual in a massive ocean of the very same energy. And that's the true nature of the source, not the mumbo jumbo people are misdirected and taught on this earth to worship some being somewhere that demands absolute worship of it and gives nothing in return for that worship. That is tyrants doing that only, because there's no really resolution. There's no enlightenment involved in that. You have to wait till you die to go to some heaven to find out what's true. That's absurd. Nobody. Here's the thing: people on other worlds do not work like this. They know better. They're aware. They're enlightened. A normal human being on another planet, man and woman, the worlds I know of, would appear like master saints to people here in an instant. And yet to them, they're just normal. So what are real master teachers that teach them like? Those are the beings I work with. So the energies that come through what I do are always focused on being of benefit for all life, not just human beings, everything. And not just on Earth, everywhere. That's our true purpose as a human being, to be one day trusted, fully conscious co-creators with the source, or the prime creator, as beings from other worlds call God. Only they know what it is. It's not faith to them or belief. They go there, they know what it is, and they create with it. This is our true nature and true destiny, not what people have been told on this earth. That's not our true destiny. Human beings actually have a very lofty destiny, to be able to co-create with the very source itself. Why? Because when we're exploring these lower worlds, we discover new ways of doing things through the trials and tribulations we suffer through. And we're expected to return to that source to download, if you will, into it new ways of doing things that itself does not know yet. Without our participation, it won't know. Talking about God itself, it does not know everything because everything has not yet been created, that each one of us can co-create with it one day. The purpose of creating is to find new ways of doing things better than have been done before. So the great beings out in the universe are busy like spiritual scientists, working collectively together and singly to come up with new ways of doing things that improve the nature of life. Not only life-running bodies, but how to get around from one galaxy, 10 galaxies away in an instant in some kind of craft and technology. So the speed of light has got nothing to do with it at all. Scientists on Earth are locked into this trap of limiting themselves to the speed of light they can detect on Earth. That's a tiny little frequency down in the lower dimensions only. They should know better. Infrared, ultraviolet, X-rays, these are just names of a few higher frequencies they can't see without instruments. There are many more beyond that people from other worlds know how to work with. They can run in craft from one planet to the next using an underlying energy in creation through their engine, if you will, and out the other side of the craft without using any energy at all, polluting nothing. It's not radioactive. That's interesting. So they conquered that whole radioactive thing a long time ago and outlawed nuclear weapons and radioactive isotopes, which are man-made. They neutralized all that stuff. There's no constructive use for it whatsoever. It's just dangerous, period. And it's a limited use of energy. You can't get across the stars in a nuclear-powered ship, ever. And they'll never be able to do it. That's all dependent on thrust out the back end of a tailpipe. You can't go great distances that way.
Scott, may I ask about this 144 parallel world?
Not parallel worlds, parallel dimensions.
Parallel dimension, like our planet, we also have 144, right?
Correct.
Same, exactly same, like planet
Same
Earth.
Area, just a little different, a little higher, a little wider, they're different time rate frequencies. The molecules or the atoms that make up each plane vibrate at a different time rate from the one below it. This one's faster, this very fast.
And we have the same body in 144?
No, you couldn't run that many bodies practically, but you can visit them. You may have a body in one, but you have one here in this parallel dimension where the Space Hubble telescope looks out and where, radio telescopes look out. They're seeing a number of frequencies, actually a number of parallel dimensions, and they don't realize it, in the physical universe. There's 144 levels of it. There's a mathematical number. It's a spiritual number, really, set up this way. It's not infinite and unending. There's a limited number of parallel dimensions in each major division. Like the physical, astral, causal, they all have 144. Now think about this. If Earth is in one parallel dimension, and you see billions of galaxies going in every direction from time-lapse photography and gathering enough light to see that they're out there, there are 144 levels of that, and life in all of it. The more advanced races out there can circumnavigate all of it and have trade and relationships and everything with all of them. So when I say to people the Galactic Alliance is made up of 450 million plus world members, that's just so I don't scare them. It's many billions on many levels. Because the people on Earth don't understand how this travel between parallel dimensions is possible. The physical vehicle made on Earth are at the Pleiades, for instance, anti-gravity ship. They can go all the way up, all through 144 of them. It's the most advanced ones. But they can't cross that over into the astral plane. Because in that plane, it's made of a different, finer matter altogether. You'd have to have a ship made of astral energy to play around in that universe. And it's way bigger than all the physical universe combined. And so forth on up. In the Atma plane, or the plane of soul, the origination of beings, before they got sent across the void down into the lower dimensions. The Atma plane, or the soul plane, or whatever you want to call it, is so gigantic in comparison to all the universes below. It's like a drop in a bucket of water. And the size and the differences, you can't even compare them because the laws of energy don't work there like they do here. Everything that comes into existence here has to come from a higher energy source, which goes through what are called concentric generators. They're like little electromagnetic whirls. in all of the different dimensions, little doorways. And where the vibrations, this is much higher powerful energy, you'd keep this lower one alive, it'll go through this whirl and it'll slow it down until it's this vibration to keep all these dimensionalities supported energetically. More advanced races have mapped out where these openings are, and they travel through them to get around the universe, way beyond the speed of light. Give me a break. You can't get anywhere in the speed of light as people understand it on Earth. It'll take you forever. Travel is not limited to the speed of light. More like the speed of sound. And even there are things that go beyond that, any limitations with that. So,
are these created by Ancient One? And we co-create.
What do you mean by the Ancient One?
The source, the source.
They're created by all of us together at the source and continue to create it. If we want the experiment, and that's all it is, of evil to end in the lower dimensions, good and bad, the good guys win, the bad guys win. The good guys win, the bad guys win. Planet blows up, you die. You get cancer, you don't. Come in, you live a long life. You live life of a pauper. If you want that to end, that nonsense, then collectively as beings who comprise and make up the Supreme Source, all of us together have to decide to end the experiment of evil for good, because something else has been brought into creation to take its place that actually works. That's what's underway now. Something new in the whole thing that's never happened before. That's why the past prophesied destructive Armageddon destiny for this planet was permanently and forever altered a few years ago. It's not headed there anymore. People on Earth have no idea this is true yet. This world's not going to be destroyed. There are beings in the universe I work with that have kept it from being destroyed in a nuclear war 12 separate times already. That's classified way above top secret by the controlling people on this planet. They're scared of things that have such power that they can't control it. There are beings who have stopped nuclear war here, literally. Shut down the launch computers. And didn't interfere in any other way. Just not do what you want, but you're not doing that. Because people on Earth do not have the right spiritually or physically or mentally to destroy this world if it's going to affect hundreds of billions of other life they don't even know exists in other parallel dimensions on this planet or elsewhere, who outnumber us a billion times more, who are not destructive, and they're not going to tolerate it. I don't care what anybody thinks on this planet. They're not going to be allowed to destroy this place. It's selfish, indulgent, nonsense thinking. And we don't have the right to impose that on their life. We do not. If people were operating from true free will here, this planet wouldn't be like this at all. So when people wake up to what true free will really is, this planet will change virtually overnight. That's what motivates me. That's what excites me and gets me passionate about doing what I do. Because I can share something with people they've never heard before on this planet with knowing certainty. And they pick up on it. They sense it. Somewhere deep in their being, they sense it because they once knew how to know things with certainty, without doubt, without fear, without speculation, without theory, without terror and anger and revenge and all that nonsense. Those are not normal human emotions. They are artificially created and implanted subconsciously in people, rather in the being itself, or an energy field around the being, not even in the body. You take that kind of stuff with you when you leave this life. It goes with you. So it really, really is beneficial for people to become aware of what the illusion is that surrounds them and stop paying attention to it and start looking beyond it. Because that helps them co-create with others who can help them to be free of that kind of subconscious stuff forever. That's why we're doing these radio shows. It's the only reason I'm doing them. There's no money involved. Nobody's being charged any money. I suppose my work, some people think my work threatens them because they charge money for what they do in this regard, and I do not. Either it's jealous or they're just plain ignorant of what it is they're doing, because their motivation isn't really for the best good of all life. And I really wish those people, and I know who they are, well, because they're operating under subconscious influences that are misdirecting them. They don't know what they're doing, or they wouldn't do it. That's changing, even for them. I'm excited about watching when one day they wake up and realize, holy cow, I don't have to operate from any of those negative things anymore. It's pretty cool. When I'm doing that, I'm doing it with literally millions of beings that I'm telepathically connected to that are doing it with me, focused on this planet. It's a force so great, so large, moving in one direction. There literally is no way this world can stay the way it is and blow itself up. That's not going to be tolerated anymore by the Galactic Alliance and beings higher than them. That's already decided. It's a done deal.
May I ask you the question? You know, like the beginning, I don't know how to ask this question. The beginning of the source, how does exist? How does the source exist at the first place, Scott?
It's all energy. You're asking a question that you are the only one can remember or know. You can't get it fed to you from my mouth or from data over the internet. Well, this is what truth is, and here it is. Write it down on a piece of paper, then you'll understand it. No, you will not understand it. If I tell you what the source is, which I've done already, and you don't know that for yourself, it's not going to help you, no matter what I say, until you experience remembering it for yourself. Then you know. And it's not a big mystery. What puzzles people is they don't think they're capable of knowing such things. It has nothing to do with IQ. The being not operating in a body but out of the body, the IQ is off the charts. You can't even measure it on Earth. Brain in the head is very limited in everything it can do. It's not designed to function as a motion picture projector showing you images on a screen. There's really nothing in the brain that's not even designed to do that. It has other functions. The real ability to imagine what's out there, only the Atma itself can do, not the body, not the physical eyes or ears. The real you, the inner eye, the third eye, the inner sound, the inner ear, whatever you want to call it. What we are is spherical, and it's made up of a structure from a white core through the colors of the rainbow, little teardrop shapes, lights that make up these different layers, and each one's a different faculty of perception and knowing. Out to a violet exterior with a golden aura around it. It's, you know, an uninterfered with soul or Atma looks like this. How many people have actually remembered what they look like that isn't physical? They think it's like the astral body, their physical body like them. No, it is not. That's just a body that lives a life made of matter on the next dimension. People have lives they're living on a number of dimensions right now, and they don't remember it. The one Atma is running more than one body on one dimension. Why? So they can learn on a number of levels how to co-create with the source wonderful new ways of doing things. That's the reason for it. Experiment of evil just got in the way. It worked too well. And it's a failed experiment. It's just trapped a lot of what you call the supreme being, and it's the lower creations, and the whole creation has not been evolving for 100 billion years. It's just been like this. Time for a change. When people begin to work with the hue, they should understand that there is no negative in it whatsoever. nor can any negative energy or being or technology influence it in any way, shape, or form. It is an energy that we are comprised of that pre-exists time and space, that pre-existed the lower dimensions and good and bad and positive and negative and all that stuff. We have always been, we always will be. Knowing it consciously and being unconscious about it, it makes all the difference in the world. One might say that when one becomes aware of these things again, they leave everything alone. This physical body is here to serve life, to help make a transition, a transformation on this planet with the help of massive hosts of beings from off planet. And the one I have in the astral planes doing the same thing, the one I have in the causal planes doing the same thing, the one in the mental the same, the etheric the same. And I'm stationed in, as you know, in certain teaching facilities in the upper worlds. One's called the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. You've been there. And it's not like things on Earth, and they don't work like things on Earth. But it's in such places where the creative potential exists for people to make this lower dimension, planet Earth, and many others quite different than they've ever been. The technology to transform a world, to remove all the cars on this planet in a day, turn them into some kind of teleportation centers and parks and homes, get rid of vehicles altogether, oil, how to get rid of all pollutants in the soil, the air, the water, sewer systems, everything. All of that can be transformed virtually in a week on a planetary level by beings who have the technology out there, who learned how to do it 100 million years ago, 200 million years ago, 500 million years ago. And people on Earth don't know it exists yet, but they will. That's pretty cool. So even though these are just words, what's coming through the words is a telepathic communication to you and your listeners. It's not psychic. I'm not putting down psychic things, except psychic energies, positive and negative, exist in the lower four dimensions only. They do not exist in the upper worlds, and they are not natural to the Atma or being. They are external to it. The beings have been manipulated to believe that the positive and negative runs right through the center of who they are. That's an illusion. It's not supposed to work like that. This is really important stuff, because when I say it, it's a telepathic thing. The reason I don't work with psychic energies myself is because they come largely from the emotional plane, the astral plane, and the lower planes, but they swing from one pole to the next, like a wave, positive and negative, and positive and negative, and it's unreliable. One day you do something psychically and it's right, the next day it's wrong. There's never been a single person alive on this planet that's ever made a prediction, a psychic prediction about the end of the world, or anything of significance that's ever come true. We're still here. Nostradamus' predictions have been changed significantly since the day when he wrote them. Many things have changed. And if they hadn't, we'd all be dead. This world would have no life on it right now. People don't ask themselves the right questions. How come we've never had a nuclear war when 35 countries have at least nuclear bombs? How come nobody just goes haywire with them? Because they can't. They're not allowed to. They're just used to control people as a threat, but they can't use them. They're not allowed to have a nuclear war. That's way long ago, way before Lemriel Atlantis, way far back in the history of this planet. There was nuclear war here. The planet wasn't destroyed. People were. There have been cultures evolving on this planet, coming and going for more than 50 million years since the dinosaurs were extinct. And beings on Earth don't have any idea that such a history ever existed here. Because they grow up thinking that human beings evolved from what? Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon, ape men, from an amoeba, from a fish in the sea? No. Human beings never evolved on this world in the first place. They evolved way out in the galaxies billions of years ago, and were brought here under one different scenario or another over a vast period of time. The poles of this planet have flipped overnight, psychically every 100,000 years, destroying the entire surface. And so we had a golden age to iron age and back again, a Lemurian Atlantis, all gone. Beings that could get off the planet left. Others who tyrants would leave humans here to perish. They didn't care. Some would live and just like be in an animalistic state and start the world over again. Many others were brought in different scenarios, and then we end up with the population we have now, most of whom don't know who they are, how they got here. Do they? How many people do you meet in your daily life that tell you they know who they are and how they got here? Who really know what they're talking about? How many of them know what a soul is, what an atma really is, what it looks like, how it functions? Not the body that they run unconsciously. That's how the condition of this world is, and it's not going to stay this way. It's been this way for far too long already.
Scott, may I ask you a question? Since our atmas are controlled by tyrant, right?
No,
and how about
right? Your atma is not controlled by tyrants. What was done to people subconsciously was done a long time ago. They're operating on automatic with programs in the subconscious domain that negatively affect their nervous system to misdirect decisions they need to make to wake up. That's a tyrant control. There are no more tyrants on this planet from other worlds. They were sent home. No more abductions by little gray guys. That's all 20 years older. It's not happening now. But people are left with the negative effects, including the leaders on this world. So they're heading the world in a direction that is not under their own higher thinking and understanding. So you see, they don't have the true free will they should have, or they wouldn't do these things. This is really not about ending the occupation of a few alien races that came here since World War II and in classified treaties and all that kind of thing. It's more about getting people that had things done to them without their consent by technologies way beyond them, by tyrants, and undoing those programs so people can return to being normal human beings on this world for the first time, actually.
how about our family members, Scott?
What about them?
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know how they become to be together in the family member, because we come from different places, different dimensions, different planets, right?
People in other worlds don't have any problem understanding what you're saying or how to get along with each other because they know who they are. What makes discord and disharmony in families is not knowing, not understanding, not remembering, and being really frustrated subconsciously with the fact that people are running around living lives, going to work, paying taxes, growing old and dying here. You don't remember anything. And it's frustrating and it's hard for people because it's not natural. Way down deep, people know it isn't, don't they? Sure they do. They may not know why or what happened to them. They know this isn't right. What's going on out here is something way off balance out here, way off kilter, way off the mark. It's just silly the way this world works. It's not normal at all. And so people are having to struggle every day in politics and in countries just to keep the place from self-destructing, trying to create more laws and more suppression and more taxes and more this and more that to try to keep it all moving in the kind of system they have, which has no future in the Galactic Alliance. None whatsoever. There is not going to be a planet run like this invited to join the ranks of beings out there. It will stay quarantined because it's a dangerous place until people are set free here and can be trusted. That's a fact. So it means that people need to recover much of what they once were, which is a form of enlightenment indeed. And then in the process, gather the wisdom to know how to use this great faculty of the creative imagination, a truly godly gift, in the right way. And then we can join all those others out there. They would give us all their technology, come here and transform this planet in overnight if we were ready to receive it. At no cost. There's no money. Money's illegal out there. They don't use it. They don't barter. It's not 40 camels for 20 horses. They don't work like that or even think like that out there. So Earth really needs to wake up a lot to drop all that silliness. And they're going to need help from beings from other worlds who know how to do this and who aren't trapped here, don't have subconscious minds at all. Because a human being that's normal doesn't have one. So there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of adventure coming our way. Because people are going to go through these experiences one way or another. They've been wanting it without really realizing it for the most part. The future of this world is not what people think it is. The sooner they become more aware of that in their own experience, the better off they're going to be, and their families. Because as a person here begins to recover these awarenesses, the energy increases through them, and it begins to have a benevolent, uplifting, kind effect, a transformative effect on everything around them. Especially when they begin to channel, not channel like a psychic thing, but to co-create this new ray of conscious intent to come through them for the benefit of all life and for no other purpose whatsoever. Not revenge, not anger, none of that. That has to all be given up. Doesn't matter what someone did to you in another life. Somebody has to grow up enough spiritually to drop that need for getting back payment or giving out revenge. So that karma, that illusion stops. It stops the moment a person starts disagreeing with it, stops agreeing with it. When they're conscious about what it is, they're trapping themselves in these repetitions, these karmas, reincarnations of unconsciousness. It stops when they stop feeding it unconsciously from the godly energy that they emanate to create two things that trap a person. Tyrants knew that, so they would get people to focus introvertedly, creating two opposing forces and shut down their energy, and then they can control them. Manipulate their feelings subconsciously, that kind of thing. See, as we're speaking, that's already changing for you and your listeners in ways that they won't know for a little bit, but it's all good. It's meant for their well-being, not for any other purpose. No hidden motive, no covert reason. It's not coming from tyrants from other worlds of any race. It's coming from Source itself, and it's a change in that Source the first time. Something quite significant. That's why I can know it and talk about it, share it with people. At some point, maybe on your shows we can do, you see, you don't really want to do a guided journey into other realms and other dimensions for a vast group of people who you don't even know listening on a radio show. Because they first need to have an understanding of what it is we're doing and why. So they can really be benefited by. What I do oftentimes is escort people on journeys out of their bodies to other realities. And share with them what's being seen out there and what it looks like, because they've been made to forget this. But once it's awoken in them, they begin to be able to see how different these other realities are. They have a picture, something they can bring back up, focus on it, and go there themselves. A person cannot go anywhere in creation without being able to first imagine it. So there is a blocked or suppressed memory of all these places in each being that needs to be awoken. So they can remember how to go to these places and how to visualize. Okay, I'm going to visualize being on Lemriel, one of my home worlds, near the Pleiades, way off back behind it. I know what it looks like. I see what it looks like, and then I'm there walking around. And I'm here doing service to help change this world. At the same time, it's not selfish. People in other worlds aren't motivated to just live in their own little selfish paradise while everybody else suffers. That's nonsense. They're motivated to help free up other beings when the situation is right, when the circumstances are right, which this new ray in the hue provides, so that they have a tool to work with to make it so that tyrants who are motivated to be tyrants subconsciously are no longer motivated to be tyrants. They become normal beings again. This means that all tyrants that have ever existed only became that way because something was done to them so horrendous, so manipulated, that it forced them and compelled them to be so terrorized subconsciously that they want to dominate everything else so that it doesn't kill them first. It's that kind of thinking. It's twisted. And if people want to get free, they have to stop being angry and putting their fists up against all the bad people, hidden government, royal families, all that stuff. It will twist a body and distort and damage people's bodies. So negative energy is what tyrants use to trap people. Tyrants want people angry, throwing stones at all the wrong places, because tyrants that are doing it to them are not in the public eye and they're hidden. So that people throw the stones at all the wrong people. It's like throwing stones in a glass house. They get caught up in the fight, the good fight to liberate Earth or to bring around disclosure, but they're fighting some hidden government. And really what's happening, they're creating negative energy that's coming out of them, connecting the negative energy, and then they're caught by it. And then they go through having their internet messed with, and this mess from that west. It's not necessary, none of it, even on this earth. You don't have to do that. If they operate in the hue properly, none of those energies can touch them or come into their space at all. That's really important, because what I just shared with you, some classified people will be listening to this radio show. I guarantee you. And they're understanding that what I'm sharing is for their benefit and their families. It's not to harm them or put them up against a wall for being such badasses and all that stuff. No, you know they were manipulated too. They don't want to be like they are. So they're beginning to become aware that there are beings and things in our solar system operating now that are going in one direction, and it doesn't matter how much power they think they have, or what nuclear weapons or advanced extraterrestrial technology, reverse engineered weapons they've got. They're not going to be allowed to take them out in the universe and play with them in any negative way. This solar system is quarantined for a good reason, not to harm anyone, but to protect other life. That unconscious misdirected people do not have the right to negatively affect. It's just that simple. No one's going to harm anybody here or take down governments or any of that nonsense. Governments here and classified people are going to change from within outward. And then everything changes because nobody wants to behave like tyrants anymore. It's boring. It's hard on the body. It's terrorizing. There's no way to live a good life that way, lying to everybody all the time. It's negative. It has negative effects on the people doing it. Of course it does. So I'm going to do some tones in this hue right now. I'm going to go up 9 times, which is going to raise the vibration. I'm not just hueing from me to you. It's going through the internet now to the entire planet. And there are many wonderful beings involved who wish every single living thing on this planet well. Doesn't matter if they're royal families or classified or regular people on the street, whatever they are, wherever they are. This is for their benefit only. No other motivation exists in the new ray and the hue whatsoever. We'll leave your audience for tonight with that. Next time maybe we'll go on a little journey, maybe along the past time track out in the galaxy. Get people thinking outside of Earth a little bit, outside the box. Get their imagination a little bit more deep and wide. Is that okay?
Okay, very good today, Scott. Thank you. I mean, every time is very good. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. It's very useful and I think very helpful.
You're very welcome. So is everyone else. When I do this, Terrellian, most people who listen to this don't know who that is. He's not from Earth. He is human, but not like us. Far, far more advanced and much more ancient. Which just means that human beings evolved out there in the stars long ago in this form. In their case, they immortalized their physical bodies a little over 1 billion years ago. There's so much going on out there and so much to explore and discover in childlike wonder. I wish I could just hand it all to people. But the rule is they have to co-create getting out of their own trap with beings who can help them do it, because they're not tyrants. They want people to wake up their higher faculties and recover what they once knew. Very important. And in a safe way, so that while it's happening, their physical lives and family lives remain balanced. That's something, so everything stays balanced while you're waking all this up. The new ray does that. It's a very balancing energy, very serene, very dignified, elegant, poised, mature. So it's all good.
Okay, thank you for tonight, Scott.
Good night. See you next
time. Good night.